On the wing here, baseline attempt to number 50 now, Brett Newbanks. Newbanks is called for the offensive foul. He got in some traffic there, decided to push some people, and the referee said, son, you can't do that. That's the second foul on Newbanks. Cuba to inbound, down 10 points with 4:44 left here in the third quarter.
I'd like to see Tracy Hutchins get about 8 to 10 shots in each quarter here. I think it'd make a difference. He drives and he hits a layup. They can't stop him, and the thing about Tracy is if he doesn't have the shot, he can create his own shot, but he needs to take a lot of shots if we're going to get back in this. Uh-oh, there we go. I think that's his third foul right there.
Foul called on number 30, that's Tracy. That's his third foul, as Jim says, with 4:25 left here in the third quarter. Sullivan with a 52-44 lead. Back out on top, that's Baker. There's Martin, off the rim, no good. Loose ball underneath, picked up by Ransom. Coming back quickly is Cuba. That's King down the lane. Good rejection there by 42, that was Clover. But they called a foul, I believe, on Brett Newbanks with the body. Excellent block there. The foul was not called on the block. Called the foul with a body. I believe it was Newbanks. That's his third foul. King's first free throw, good touch. Nice touch by King. He makes it a 52-45 game. Cuban get it within 6 here with 4:05 left in the third quarter.
Yeah. Jeremy King that time took it in good and strong. Went in against a couple taller players and still tried to get it up over him. Drew the foul. It was a good play by Jeremy, and he made the 2 free throws. We're down 6 and a turnover by the Eagles. This thing's changing a little bit, Bob. There's a little frustration in the Sullivan players right now.
Cuba down by 6, 52-46, 3:50 left here in the third quarter. Beal looking for an open man. Baseline left to Hutchings. Blocking foul called on 52, Matt Lattimore. Ball on the floor, Cuba will inbound with 3:44 left here in the third quarter.
Yeah, if we can keep that ball in Tracy Hutchings' hands, Bob, and get Sullivan to take a few bad shots, it's conceivable we could pull this game out yet. Tracy's playing well, he's looking for him, and he can create his own shots. He doesn't have to have it off a good play. Give it to him right there.
Swings it around to Hutchings. Guarded by 2 Sullivan players on the baseline, tried to force it underneath. Steal by Martin. Coming back the other way is Sullivan. Pull-up jumper, short, no good. By Clay Weidman in the ball game. And here comes Cuba down 52-46, 3:16 left in the third quarter. Out on top to Beal. Over to Ransom. Looking for Hutchings, guarded by 4 players. Mike Campbell called for steps on a baseline drive. Referee's opinion, he took 1 step before he put the ball on the floor. Substitution for Sullivan. Matt Lattimore checks back into the ball game. 3 minutes left here in the third quarter. Sullivan holding on to a 52-46 lead. 3-point shot, no good. Mike Ransom right there for the rebound. And Campbell is going to pass the ball. 2 travels in the row on Campbell. Tough calls. He'd like to have those back. 2:48 left, third quarter. Martin slowing things down. Coach Marshall Schaefer-Cutter barking out signals to his kids. There's Dace, baseline right, guarded by Ransom. Tries a behind the back dribble, spin move, shot, no good. Good rebound by King. Here comes Cuba. Down by 6, 52-46, 2:19 showing on the clock. There's Hutchings, rotation on the ball, no good. I thought that was going to be in. Jim had good rotation.
That would have really helped. But no, it was off a little bit. Ooh. Ball goes out of bounds and back to Sullivan. Yeah, Mike Campbell had a couple of errors there, a couple of mistakes he made. He wasn't real sure when he put the ball up off the dribble, and then you really have to know if you're going to pass or shoot. That time, one time he turned it over out by the midline, and that's just kind of a mistake of experience there, Bob. Anytime you pull up off the dribble, you have to have a pretty good idea what you're going to do with that ball. And I think he was a little undecided there and turned it over a time or two, but he'll learn and be a lot better. Wildcats playing a lot better. In fact, when we got a chance to really cut into that 6-point lead there, we've turned it over a couple of times now, made a couple of mistakes, but still anybody's game. It's a nice comeback. We seem to come back strong a little bit in the third quarter. Maybe we're a little bit better conditioned team than some of the other teams we play, but we've seemed to always play the best in the third quarter.
Yeah, that's been the trend this year for the Wildcats. The third quarter's been the big one. In games against Steelville and Bell, they made their moves. And also against Dixon in their opening game on the road, they had kind of an indifferent first half, but came out in the third quarter and basically took control of the ball game. Here we go now with 2:07 left showing on the clock. Sullivan up on top, 52-46. Cuba comes out with Wallace, King, Hutchings, Scott, and Ransom. Referees perhaps checking on a medallion or t-shirt that's showing. I think it's Tracy's t-shirt. They get that squared away. Martin to inbound for Sullivan. To Baker. Left baseline. Cross-court pass, that's number 52. Matt Lattimore beat Jim Scott on the play. Jim's got 3 fouls, so he's got to be careful. And Lattimore took advantage of that, made a nice drive. Kick Wildcats. Wallace to King. Wallace drives down in the key to Jim Scott. Blocked by Dace. Got a piece of that ball. Back comes Sullivan with a 54-46 lead with 1:30 showing in the clock. Third quarter. There's Dace. Top of the 3-point circle. 57-46 Sullivan. Winding down to 1:15 left here in the first quarter.
Back to 11. Now Dace brought him back a little bit, hit a 3-pointer there. Blocked a shot on this end. A couple of good plays in a row there for him.
Ransom, 3-point bucket, good. Makes it 57-49 with 54 seconds left here in the third quarter as Wildcats continue to hang tough. Drive down the lane, blocked by number 25, King. Big Jim Scott brings it back into the midcourt. Wallace controlling the action. Over here to King, guarded by 2 Sullivan players. Loose ball picked up by Lattimore. Unfortunate there, they had a chance to keep the momentum going with 23 seconds left now in the third quarter. Sullivan will probably pull out for the last shot. Lattimore with the ball. In the paint to Dace, foul on the floor called on Cuba. That'll be only their 4th team foul here in the third quarter. Sullivan will have the ball out of bounds with 13 seconds left. Up 57-49.
And last time down there when Cuba had possession of the ball, the only good pass is one that ends up in the hands of your teammate. Unfortunately, that pass that was turned over there, Bob, even if he catches the pass, he doesn't have anything he can do with the ball. You know, he can't score with that pass. Doesn't do him a lot of good.
Clock continues to run as the ball rolled loose. As Sullivan got a bucket on the inbounds there to make it a 59-49 lead after 3 quarters. Generally when the ball rolls loose like that, they stop the clock, but Cuba players were kind of caught off guard. The clock continued to run. It really took away any last chance of a threat down here the other way, but nonetheless, after 3 quarters, Cuba down by 10, 59-49. Hutchings and Scott still with 3 fouls each, I believe, so they'll be able to play a full 4th quarter here. And Ransom also picked up his third foul. So Cuba's got some foul problems. But when you're down by 10 heading into the fourth quarter, it's Katie bar the door anyway. Put your best players on the court and see what you can do. The first 2 or 3 minutes are going to be crucial for the Wildcats here. Hopefully Sullivan will cool off, and I think the Wildcats keep chipping away. They'll get back in this ball game.
Yeah, I don't think Coach Marshall Schaefer-Cutter of Sullivan's real happy with the way his team's been playing. He's really been on them hard from the start of the game. Could be they're a little tired from last night, but I can tell by the way he's coaching now, he's not too happy with the way things are going out there for his team. Stays on his players pretty good. Sometimes you have to do that, Bob. It's not an easy thing to coach. Sometimes you got to be a little tough.
Here we go now, beginning of the fourth quarter. Shot was put up and good by number 20, Martin. Going to check the foul called here. Sullivan's walking the other way, so I believe it was an offensive push. No, they got Ransom on the call. Had everyone confused. Sullivan players thought it was on them. I believe that's the fourth foul on Mike Ransom. Yes, it is. He's got to come out of the ball game now with 7:49 showing here in the fourth quarter. Sullivan looking to inbound. That's Rich Clover. Back out on top here to Martin, guarded by Wallace. Driving one-hander, no good. Rebound, Hutchings. And here comes Cuba. Driving one-hander, good by Wallace. Baseline drive. It's a good strong drive by Chad Wallace. Makes it a 61-51 ball game, 7:23 left here in the fourth quarter.
And a good pass from Tracy Hutchison. Dace down low with the turnaround. He scores.
Well, you knew he'd get his points before this game was over, and he a nice soft turnaround jumper there with the left hand. Beal drives back out to Wallace. Kicks it out to Beal. Ball stripped away, going the other way is number 30. That's Ashton Baker. Puts it up and in. Baker. Here with 6:54 left in the fourth quarter. Puts Sullivan up 65-51. And he'll go to the line to go for the three-point play. They called Mike Beal on that foul. Check the team foul situation at it'll be 6th team foul on Cuba. Sullivan has 4. This is not what you wanted to see happen here in the early going in this fourth quarter. They're back up by 14, and Cuba's got Ransom in foul trouble. Got to hang tough here the next couple minutes, cut into that lead, get it down under 10.
All right, we had it down to 6, and then we had a couple of turnovers, but no need in saving your players now. You either got to get back in it now or, oh, man, no foul there. Can't believe that. They just mugged one of our players out here.
It's pretty tough defense played there, and referee Gordon May says no harm, no foul, but fortunately the ball came back to Cuba as Sullivan man was out of bounds. Travel violation called on Wallace out top. Sullivan leads 65-41, 6:41 left here in the fourth quarter. Sean Siebert checks into the ball game. Wallace will take a breather. In the backcourt for Sullivan, bringing it up is Martin driving down the lane. Lob pass underneath to Dace. Reverse left-handed lay-in is good. It's Jim Scott with those 3 fouls. Kind of had to look at him, but it's a point in the ball game. You got to start making them earn those. 6:20 left here in the fourth quarter. Timeout called by Coach Bill Gunn, as his team has fallen down by 16 here, 67-51. Tough first minute and a half for the Wildcats to open up this fourth quarter.
Yeah, it has been. Sullivan's done a lot of things right again here. They've had a little bit of spurt, and we had a chance to get in there, Bob, with 6 points down. We had several opportunities with the ball, and we just didn't take advantage of those, and I think that gave them a little spark, and then they got to hit a shot or two. That last time down there, Mr. Dace, talented as he is, looks like he might have had a couple little extra steps in there on that last move and a reverse layup down there on the baseline, but officials didn't call it. and he went ahead and scored. But that's not what's hurting us right now. They've just played really well. Sullivan has. You get those things happen for you whenever you're playing well. You get the little calls, things go your way.
Coming off the timeout now here with 6:21 left in the fourth quarter. Hutchings will be inbounding for Cuba as they're down by 16, 67-51. On the floor for Cuba, it'll be Hutchings, Siebert, Campbell, King, and Scott. Sullivan settles into his zone defense. Long jumper outside, no good. Tap back up by Campbell. Ball out of bounds to Cuba. They're going to have to start taking those three-point jumpers to get back on this one, Jim. Underneath to Scott. Ball out of bounds to Cuba. King will be inbounding. Looking for Hutchings out here on top. Guarded closely by Martin. Got a pushing foul on number 50, Brett Newbanks, on Sullivan. That'll be the fifth team foul here with 6:04 left. Cuba still trying to cut into that 16-point deficit, 67-51. Siebert gets the inbounds pass out on top. Draws three men to him. Reaching there by number 30. That was Baker. Out here to Siebert. Hutchings gets the ball. Draws two men to him. And back out on top to Siebert. King swinging down. And pass intercepted by number 42. Drives to the basket. That's Rich Clover. Good play by Clover. He wanted that ball a little more than the other Cuba players did. He cut it on the move, took it the length of the court, almost made a Michael Jordan type shot.
Yeah, those diagonal passes across the floor like that get you in trouble almost all the time. They're just in the air too long. And you have to shorten your passes. That time one of the Cuba players chose to throw it across the floor, and that's just the ball's in the air too long. And most any good defensive player will read it, get a hand on it like Clover did, and he's a good player. Although he hasn't played as well tonight as I thought he might. He's done some other things well. He rebounds, plays defense, good steal there. He's got a nice shot. He's a tough kid. You can see that he's quite a player, although he hasn't had the kind of game you might expect to see him play tonight.
Clover makes one of two free throws. That makes it a 68-51 ball game. Chad Wallace quickly brings it back the other way, and at 5:30 mark here in the fourth quarter, it's 68-53. Cuba down by 15. Dace takes the ball into the front court. Out on top to Martin. Dace guarded by Hutchings. Hutchings all over Dace, gets the ball to Martin. Brings it back out on top as Marshall Schaefer-Cutter shouts out instructions. Clock winds down to 5 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. Flip pass over the head to Dace. Up and in, back up and in is good. A nice little pass there by number 30, Anson Baker. Drew two players to him, to wide open Dace. He's got his own rebound. Hutchings comes back, no good on the three-point effort. Fans wanted a foul call, there was none. And it's a 70-53 ball game as Martin drives down the lane. Foul called on number 50, Jim Scott. That should be his fourth foul. Scott and Ransom now with 4 fouls each. He's got 4:32 left here in the fourth quarter. Sullivan starting to pull away. It's a 70-53 ball game. Martin going to the free throw line for 2 shots.
It was a nice drive down the lane, and Jim Scott was a little bit late getting there. He was working to get there, just didn't quite make it. But Dial Martin has had a pretty good second half, but I think that 20 points a quarter has kind of left him. Thank goodness.
Psychologically, it's tough to improve on that, even though physically he may be able to. It's just one of those dream quarters. Anyway, Cuba comes back down 72-53. Hutchings from way outside, good. Tracy Hutchings, three-pointer, makes it 72-56. Wildcats down by 16 with 4 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. Drive down the lane, no good by Sullivan. Back comes Hutchings. Takes it all the way, good. Tracy Hutchings, another bucket, and that makes it 72-58 with 3:48 left here in the fourth quarter. 14-point deficit, Jim. It's tough to do, but there's a steal by Campbell. Lets the loose ball go. Referee says Cuba ball with 3:35 left here. They can cut the lead down to 12 or 11. I believe Marshall Schaefer-Cutter wants to talk to his boys about how to handle the ball here in this final 3:35 of regulation with his team up 14.
That was a nice steal that time by Mike Campbell. He tipped the ball away. The other player got a hand on it and knocked it out of bounds, but I'd still have to give that steal to Mike Campbell there. Coach Schaefer-Cutter delivering a little lecture down there perhaps on the value of good ball handling, taking care of the ball with a lead, and imploring his troops to do just that right now. But 3:25, it'll be tough, but I've seen sicker dogs than that get well, Bob. Haven't you?
Quite a high-scoring ball game here with the 72 for Sullivan, 58 for Cuba. For a high school game, that's a lot of points on the board, especially early in the season. You know, the kids aren't quite got their shooting touches down. You've seen a lot of fine shooting, a lot of good offensive sets, especially for Cuba. I've been impressed with the way they've worked the ball tonight, finding the seams in that zone defense. And they may not come back and win tonight, but I'd have to say it was a worthwhile effort by the boys.
It was a good effort by them tonight, and it's not over yet. We still could get back in this game. 3 minutes is a long time, and with that three-point shot, you definitely can get back in a hurry.
It's Tracy Hutchings driving baseline, blocked by Derek Dace. 6'7" Dace. Put it back in Tracy's face a bit. Grabbed by Scott after the play, didn't like that, took exception to it. 72-58, 3:19 left here. Martin to inbound. As Clover gets the ball, out to Martin. Over to Clover. Bounce pass out to midcourt. Martin gets the ball. Sullivan taking some time off the clock here. Cuba attempting to play tight defense as the ball stays on the perimeter. Coming off that timeout, it's pretty obvious what Marshall told his boys, Jim.
He's running the little clock now. They're going to take layups or inside baskets, probably with Dace or Clover down low. They're not going to put up any more outside shots probably, unless they're wide open outside shots. But he just wanted to take some time off the clock, make it a little harder for us to come back. They've turned it over, so we're going to get it back right here. Need a basket.
That was a 6-team foul on Sullivan, so from here on in, Cuba will be in the bonus, which is also a benefit when you're trying to come from behind and stop that clock as often as possible. Campbell gets the ball out here in the left wing on top to Wallace. Kicks it over to Campbell. Drives into the key out to Wallace, looking for an open man. Nearly intercepted there. I believe we're going to have a reach-in foul. Call on number 30 that time. That was Anson Baker. Should said Campbell to the line. Wildcats down 72-58. 2:32 left here in the fourth quarter.
I'm going to have to throw in a few threes. Maybe we can have somebody step up like Dial Martin here in the last 2 minutes and throw in 20 points. But that's probably one of the best shooting quarters I've ever seen for a kid in high school. That was something else there.
Campbell came up a little short on his free throw. Sullivan gets the rebound. Back they come. Martin down the lane. Drive. Good. Kyle Martin adds a little bit more to his tremendous evening of basketball. Left-handed drive down the lane. Back this way. 2-point shot by Chad Wallace as he's having a good offensive night. Makes it 74-60 with 2 minutes left to go here in the fourth quarter. Sullivan once again looking to take some time off the clock. keeping the ball up on top, looking for cutters down low. That's a block there. I believe that was by King. Nice defense there by Cuba. Mike Ransom back in the ball game with 4 fouls. Minute 47 left here on the clock. Mike will go to the free throw line. Cuba down by 14, 74-60.
Well, the Wildcats, it looks like it's been a pretty easy game for Sullivan, but actually the Wildcats have played a pretty good game. It's hard to come into Sullivan here with their tradition and try to beat them on their own floor, but the Wildcats have done some things a lot better tonight than they had earlier. I think they wouldn't have lost that game to Bell had they played like they did tonight. So they're a little bit better team now than they were 2 weeks ago. Good steal by Chad Wallace.
Wallace comes the other way. Good pump fake. Got his man up in the air, put it up and in. That's 74-62 with a minute 30 left here in the fourth quarter. Sullivan breaks the press down. Oh, that's a nice move by Dace. He switched over to his right hand, put it up with the left. 76-62 with 1:16 left to go. Foul out here on top by Martin. Minute 16 left. Cuba down by 14. Looks like they're going to come up a little short tonight, Jim. And but I've been impressed by their effort. A lot of hard work coming off that tough loss to Bell. They'd like to have that ball game back. If they play like this the rest of the season, unless there's a performance by a guy like Martin every night, they're going to be in ball games.
Well, I think so. I don't know where Sullivan stacks up compared to the other teams that will have to play this year, but probably they're about as good as anybody that the Wildcats will have to play. And they played them a pretty decent game tonight, considering the type of game some of the Sullivan Eagles have had. But Cuba's played a lot better than they had previously. This is the best ball game I've watched for them. Jim Scott's played well. Tracy's played well. A lot of the players have played well. Mike Ransom played most of the way. I know he's been hurting, not been able to move as good as he'd like. And they depend on him a lot for his defense and rebounding. That's hard to do when you have a bad ankle, and he's played the whole way. I think he's still got a foul to give yet, but and he'll probably use it. But a lot of the Wildcats have played. They've got a little spark off their bench from Mike Campbell and Sean Siebert and some of the other players. That helped them a little bit also. Chad Wallace at the line here. Shooting a 1-and-1. First one's up and in. Nothing but net for Chad. 5'10" senior guard lines up the second one and pulls the trigger and hits it. Wildcats in the press, man-to-man, and a quick foul on number 32, Chad Wallace. And Anson Baker will go to the line for the Sullivan Eagles. 1:15 remaining, 76-64 Sullivan.
Cuba's got, for the final minute of play here, they'll have Ransom, Hutchings, King, Stovall, and Wallace on the court. Baker to go to the line for a 1-and-1. His team up by 12, 76-64. First one is good. 77-64. It's Chad Wallace. Excuse me. That's Adam Wallace getting ready to check in the ball game, along with Waylon Cherry. Chad Wallace comes out. He had a fine ball game for the Wildcats. Good offensive showing. Baker's next one is no good. Hutchings with the rebound. Minute 12 left on the clock. Tracy drives hard baseline right. Shot no good. Draws a foul from Dace. Dace shakes his head. They hardly ever agree with those foul calls, but referee saw some contact there on Tracy's jumper.
Yeah, only the official's opinion counts. It could have went either way probably, but usually when you slap at the ball, come down at it on the shooter, they're going to call that most times. If you're going to block a shot, you need to go straight up, just barely touch the ball. You don't have to knock it out of the stadium. Just get a hand on it. It's going to deflect. They're going to miss it anyway, but a lot of players want to slap it out of there. All you have to do is touch it. Tracy hits a couple free throws. Wildcats in a press. Katura Hakimoto is in.
Waylon Cherry collided there with the Sullivan player. That's number 30, Baker. As the clock winds down here, we'd like to thank Cable 6 Cuba for allowing us to broadcast these games on tape, play them over the airways for you so you can make your own copies. We're going to have more games for you down the road. The Wildcats will be traveling to Vienna Friday, and there's quite a spell here before they come back home. I believe it won't be until homecoming against Owensville. But once again, we'd like to thank Cable 6 for this opportunity to provide you with some exciting Wildcat basketball. Hutchings comes back the other way. No good. Foul picked up. Ball rolls out of bounds. That was Adam Wallace going for the loose ball. 51 seconds left here. Sullivan up 79-66. Inbounds to Martin. There's Nakajima guarded by Wallace as Coach Gunn is going to put his boys on Sullivan and tell them to earn this game, put them on the line. Some missed one-and-ones, you never know. 13 points, 3-point shooting. The way they came back the other night against Bell there, this game's not over by any stretch. Marshall Schaefer-Cutter knows that.
No, when you coach, you want them to play every second of the game no matter what the score is. You don't want anybody loafing right now just because you're down a few points. And it's important to keep playing until it's over. You know, that's part of the never give up philosophy. And some of these younger kids are getting a chance to play that maybe don't get to play a whole lot. And it's just as important they get some of that court time too, because they practice hard every day and practice. And that's what your starters work against every day. And they just deserve the time out there. And who knows, sometimes they come in and do a real good job for you.
Nakajima at the line makes both free throws. Makes it an 81-66 ball game. Clock winding down, 40 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. Hutchings no good. Rebound by Dace. Gets it to Martin. Brings it up to midcourt. Martin is fouled by number 21. Adam Wallace put the body on him. And with 29 seconds left here, 81-66 Sullivan Eagle lead. Jim, I think Cuba's played kind of run out of gas here in the fourth quarter, but I think looking forward to some conference games, getting into the meat of the season here. If they can avoid injuries and foul trouble like they had tonight, they had a little foul trouble, they're going to be competitive in this 93-94 season.
Yeah, even when you lose, you try to find something positive in the game, and I think one of the things that happened for Cuba tonight was Chad Wallace really played good. And they need a little bit better play out of their guards than they've been having. And tonight he had a big game for him. If he can do that the rest of the year to kind of help Tracy and Jim Scott out and some of the other players and get some good guard play, it'll make a difference in the long run. And Chad played really well, I think.
Shot by Mike Beal there, rimmed in and out. And with 14 seconds left, Sullivan's going to win this ball game going away as they have an 83-66 lead. Shot taken there, three-point land, no good. Foul on number 32 with 2 seconds showing on the clock. That's James Harden in the ball game. Crowd like that as he obviously not one of the starters getting in the ball game here at the end to get a chance to shine. Chance for the three-point play with his team up on top. 85, make it 86-66. Ball inbounded down here toward Waylon Cherry. Knocked out of bounds, no time off the clock. It'll remain Cuba's ball. 2 seconds left. Inbounded to Wallace on top. Long jumper by Beal, no good. Final score, Sullivan 86, Cuba Wildcats 66. Jim, these road games are tough, especially when you go out against a team like Sullivan in a first and a second quarter, like a guy like Kyle Martin. Positive things in the ball game. Jim Scott had a heck of a first half. Also, I think Chad Wallace had a fine offensive game. Offensive rebounds once again were a problem for the Wildcats.
Yeah, I need to check off the boards just a little bit better than we have been. And that was the thing that hurt us again tonight. But like you said, that we did some things good. But Sullivan had a lot of reasons to play hard tonight. Number one, they come off a loss last night in Brentwood, and they wanted to change that. They were playing at home. And then they had that great second quarter by Dial Martin with those 20 points. And that was a big difference there. But they have a strong team. They've got a good guard and an outstanding center in Dace. And then they have the Clover kid. They're a hard team to deal with for a whole 4 quarters like that. They're a pretty good pressing team. They're big. They rebound good. They're gonna rack up a lot of wins too. But I think the Wildcats have to feel pretty good about this game in a lot of ways. And I think the most important part was the fact they might have found somebody who can step up a little bit better and play guard for them now. Chad Wallace has been playing some, but tonight he really had a good game, and maybe he can make a little difference there, because I know that was something Coach Gunn was wanting, was somebody to come and play guard for him a little bit better. He took care of the ball, had some good drives inside. He's not a kid that gets intimidated. If he does get a bloody nose or knocked down, which you generally get when you go in a lane near a guard, but he played good, I thought.
Well, I believe the final score was 86-66. Is that right? They've turned the clock off on us here. But until next time, for Cuba Wildcat basketball, from the Sullivan Gymnasium, it was the Sullivan Eagles 86, Cuba Wildcats 66. This is Bob Fleming with Jim Vollmert saying see you next time for Cuba Wildcat basketball.